Okay, here goes. Hello there. This is me and my first day here in Bali, Indonesia, that my partner and I have just moved to. This townhouse has a cozy living space, a bathroom, a kitchen, a staircase leading to the bedroom, and said bedroom with a beautiful view and an even more beautiful sunset view. But this video is about everything that led up to this point and a little bit about what I hope happens next. Facing turning 30 made me potentially reevaluate my life a little too hard. I ended up quitting my tech job, moving the entire contents of my one-bedroom apartment in Toronto into a storage locker, renting out my apartment, and relocating to Southeast Asia. There are 3 parts to the story that I want to share. What led me to quit, why I chose this location, and most importantly, why I'm sharing and possibly oversharing all of this here. For the last bunch of years, I've been living in Toronto, Canada. I started my career about 8 years ago in a creative and then digital advertising agencies, and then shifted from agency life to the vendor side where I worked in tech ad sales. Last year, things got especially hectic. Had a couple of big, unexpected life changes. One of them that impacted me quite a bit was layoff. I was working at the time as a client account manager at Reddit, and my position was cut during a wave of tech layoffs happening at the time. It was my first layoff experience, and I found myself in this very unfamiliar position of trying to separate my identity from my work and just going through the shock of it all and initial embarrassment and shame that came with it. Looking back, I really wish I'd taken time off then, but the change was just so unexpected. I felt the need to prove to myself that I could bounce back quickly. We often tie so much of who we are to our work, which is natural since we spend majority of our days, weeks, years working, and suddenly that part of myself I tried so hard to create was just gone. So naturally, I freaked out and left on my planned trip at the time to climb Mount Kilimanjaro.
Wageni wakaribishwa Kilimanjaro, hakuna matata, hakuna matata, hakuna matata, hakuna matata. Jambo bwana, habari gani? Nzuri sana. Wageni wakaribishwa Kilimanjaro.
It was a great experience, but also where I injured my knee and had to be rescued by a ranger after an emergency hike down on day 5 of the climb. Returning to Toronto in a wheelchair, going through rehabilitation, I dived back into work mode, taking product management and digital advertising courses at BrainStation to update my skills and mainly just to boost my professional confidence again. I applied and interviewed right away for new positions, got an interim job at the agency, and 3 months after the layoff, I was back in tech, working as an account executive at Flip. And well, now, after a year, I've quit and decided to take a break. It was a great role with an incredible team, and I'm so grateful that I had a chance to work there and learn a lot. But I just never, for some reason, could feel secure again, and just had this growing anxiety all the time that I couldn't let myself breathe out. I thought I bounced back, but after some time, the burnout probably caught up with me to the point that I decided I had to take a break. But a month and a half ago, in my last week of work, so after I have already put in my notice, I became the most sick I'd ever been. What started as a simple flu developed into thyroiditis that completely put me flat in bed for almost 2.5 weeks for the first time in my life. Now, if you're like me and only vaguely remember high school anatomy class, the natural question is, what the heck is thyroid? Well, let's just say that this is where I have a lot of questions to our species evolution department for how small and exposed this organ is, being a tiny gland at the front of your neck. It has just way too many responsibilities. The thyroid, as I have learned, regulates hormone production throughout your entire body, which, especially for females, affects almost everything. And that's when I knew I needed to take a real break. It's strange and very scary to say that at 29, it felt like my body just couldn't handle things anymore. It feels like the right moment, Am I nervous about quitting without a plan into nowhere? Absolutely. But I've been on this side before and things work out. It takes patience, effort, persistence, work, but I made it through once and I really hope that I'm able to do it again. My resume, the projects that I've accomplished, my work are my own, and they will always be there. And it is a risk I want to try to take. Of course, I will eventually need to go back to all the adult responsibilities that I'm not avoiding now. My mortgage isn't going anywhere, but that I thankfully was able to streamline for the next couple of months. So today I've been doing a lot of math on what makes sense and what doesn't make sense, just overall financially. The whole board is covered in numbers. There's a lot of calculations. And I think it's one of those decisions which is very hard to make because it's not straightforward. I don't know what I'm doing. Making a coffee. Honestly, I'm grateful that this is even possible, and working for 8 years and saving up, especially over the course of the last year, knowing how quickly and unexpectedly things can change, made all of the difference and allowed me to take this break. Also, the fact that I'm not making this move alone makes a huge difference. I was thinking about how all the events in our lives have their ripple effect, you know, the famous dots connect backwards quote. But what before seemed like potentially such a scary thing, quitting into the unknown, and I mean, don't get me wrong, it is still very scary, but it somehow became less frightening because I've been thrown into the unknown before. And with me finally starting to feel a bit better, that helped me push into the direction of how I hope to spend this break. I read this book recently, Man's Search for Meaning, and I'd like to talk about it more another time, but there was this one very powerful thought that I took away from it. We get to create our own meaning and choose what sense we want to give to the events that happen to us. So why Southeast Asia? Well, for me, it was a very simple answer. I actually spent 3 to 4 years living here as a kid and later as a teenager when my family was based in Bangkok, Thailand, and I went to school there. And I have this sense of familiarity here because it is one of the places that I grew up in. I've visited Bali as a kid before, and I knew I wanted to come back for a more extended stay as an adult. There's just so much history and culture here that I want to learn about. And well, finally, what am I hoping to do on this break and why this video exists? I've been trying to figure out how I hope to spend the most of my days here, and when thinking about my wildest fantasies, I realized that my dream lifestyle right now is that probably of an elderly person going through retirement. It looks something like waking up around 6 a.m., starting the day with posture exercises and a workout, reading a lot, and most importantly, since this is my first time having true time off in my adult life, whether it's big or small, I'm setting a goal for myself to step outside of my comfort zone, to follow curiosity, and try something new at least once every single week for the duration of this entire break. And I want to document those experiences and share the reports of them here every week. To be honest, just really want to have something to show myself for the time that I've taken off, you know. I want to look back on this time and feel proud that I took this leap, no matter how odd or scary it seems right now in the moment, which it does a lot. So here's to kicking off my something new, and here goes. Thank you for watching this video, and I know I will see you later this week with my first step outside of the comfort zone report. So stay adventurous and follow your curiosity. Bye!